Friday Night Football comes to USL League One after dark. We're in Fresno, California, where Central Valley and Lexington bring up the rear on the regular season table. Fuego FC have been unbeaten in 6 of their last 8. Lex Sporting is unbeaten in their last 3 straight. The USL League One after dark is on ESPN+. Hello and welcome, I'm Ryan Lee, so happy to be with you tonight, and these two sides are trailing the League One regular season table with Lexington at the bottom. However, neither team are entirely out of it, as both sides can have a pulse in the playoff race with a win today. A big positive for both sides is that they've both been on heaters. Central Valley have won 2 of their last 3, in large part due to Alfredo Medense. He made his League One debut in May against Lexington and hasn't looked back since. He's logged 3 goals and 7 assists, both marks lead Central Valley. Whether it be on set pieces or doing it himself, expect July's Player of the Month to put on another strong performance for Jermaine Jones and Central Valley Fuego. Another guy doing it all for his squad is Lexington's offensive leader, Atez Diouf. The franchise's all-time leader in goals has continued to produce offensively. He leads the team in goals again with 6 and add on another 3 assists that also leads the team. And Diouf will be having to come up to the task to extend Lexington's unbeaten streak from 3 to 4. However, aside from Medense and Diouf, the goal scoring has been a bit of a struggle for both teams. Bottom 5 in both goal scoring and goals against, lowest 2 goal differential totals, and Fuego are one of 2 teams without a clean sheet. The numbers are a large part of why Central Valley and Lexington are where they stand. However, despite the lack of results both teams have been stingy to play against, they've been able to show that they can compete with any of these teams, including the last time they played against each other back on May 11th in the Jägermeister Cup. A Chris Heckenberg red card in the 8th minute paved the way for Lexington to take a 2-goal lead in just a little over 20 minutes. However, with the 2 goals brought to you by Cam Lancaster and Atez Diouf in only 22 minutes, Lexington, however, opened the door for Central Valley as Alfredo Medense would spark Fuego's offense with a goal and an assist to tie it at 2, where after 90 minutes of play, things would go to penalties, and Lexington would be the one to claim the win in PKs. How will things shake out in a second timer out? We'll find out as Central Valley is looking for their 3rd win in 4 matches. Lexington wants to show why they belong in the USL Championship. Lineups and kickoff are next.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
We're here at Fresno State Soccer Stadium in Fresno, California. Central Valley Fuego and Lexington SC are both streaking with long unbeaten streaks, and they want to keep that going tonight with USL League One after dark between Fuego and Lex Sporting. Starting things off with Central Valley Fuego, Jermaine Jones is essentially overhauling the start 11 that he had versus Omaha with only 2 players unchanged, those being Bustamante and Lemus. Coach Jones is showcasing League One debuts for both Sean Vinberg and Kevin Garcia. Medense is up top with Benson and John Brown. put the 3 leading goal scorers for Central Valley up top that could produce great results. Now for Lexington, they're in a very different strategy as they only have 1 change to make from their last couple of matches, as they've rolled the same starting 10 for the last 3. Kalen Fox comes in for CC Uche, and Fox makes a start in his 100th League One match. Amal Knight makes his start back in net, where he is starting game number 50 in his USL League One career. Darren Powell wanting to stay consistent, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. He's been unbeaten in the last 3, including 2 wins, 1 in regulation, 1 in PKs in the Jägermeister Cup. Lex Sporting, they want to continue to keep this train rolling, considering the recent form and some of the recent news from Lex Sporting, which we will get to in a bit. Dembor Benson stands over the ball to start things off in the opening half of play. Central Valley will be in red. Lexington, they're in the All Blacks. And with Central Valley and Lexington, they're 11th and 12th in the USL League One table. They want to turn those fortunes around tonight in Fresno, California, with USL After Dark. Dembor Benson to start things off. With our officiating crew in blue, Christopher Calderon with Benjamin Davis and Peter Henson, our assistant referees, and Jamie Padilla as the 4th official, as we are underway here in Fresno, California. Ryan Lee and our entire ESPN Plus broadcast crew, we thank you very much for joining us in the late hours of the night. If you're on the East Coast and in the West, your evening is just getting started, so thank you for spending it with us, our ESPN Plus crew, and the rest of the Central Valley faithful here in Fresno, where both sides have very much been struggling in terms of the regular season table. But if they want to turn those fortunes around, a lot of that's going to have to come with continuing the momentum of recent form, considering how both teams come into today with long unbeaten streaks. Lexington, as we mentioned numerous times in the open, they have been unbeaten in their last 3. That includes a 0-0 draw against Knoxville in the Jägermeister Cup, where Lexington would take that win in penalties. And with Central Valley Fuego, yes, they did lose 1-0 to Lexington, but they want to try to get it done here as that one is struck on net. First touch already for the new signee, Kevin Garcia, who was brought onto the squad on Wednesday. A really California native from the Barca Academy, already making his impact after only being on the team for a grand total of 2 days. As we take another look here, Kevin Garcia just advances into the box, just went for the elevated kick, and for a guy who's only been on the team for a whopping 2 days, already making his impact well known, that's a good way to get into the good graces of Jermaine Jones, who him and his squad, as we mentioned in the open, they've been unbeaten in 6 of their last 8. That's a fat 180 compared to how things went to start off the season, where they only had 1 win in their first 11 matches. You come back with a very good streak of some draws, some wins mixed in, a couple of penalty results in the Jägermeister Cup as well. And despite coming off of a 1-0 loss to Omaha, that was what Jermaine Jones called not his true starting 11, as he really wanted to get some guys out on the pitch. They were already out of it in the West group, so they just wanted to try to tinker around with some things, see who might be eligible to continue earning their spot on the roster, getting that playing time in. And some of the guys who may not necessarily have played as much throughout the season, that was kind of their opportunity to, in a way, audition for more minutes with Fuego FC. The ball finds its way back for Ates Diouf, who just wiggles this one around Garcia. This Lexington side, they have very much struggled in the regular season of play. As we saw in the open, they were dead last in the regular season table, holding a record of 2-6-4. And some of that's going to have to change their fortunes, as they've also struggled on the road as well. But they're going up against the Central Valley side, who were 11th of the 12 teams in the League One table. They were dead last a season ago, and Central Valley, it's really a question of how can you really turn things around and really implement this new culture that Jermaine Jones has tried to instill in his first year as head coach. Well, he's been able to flip things around as of late with wins in 2 of the last 3.
Balance your camera.
Turnover for Lexington. Cam Lancaster takes a drive, and that one finds its way through.
Goal scored by Lexington.
Cam Lancaster opens up the scoring 4 minutes in, and Lexington get the 1-0 advantage early. Let's take another look. That all started off with a turnover from Artes Diouf, and Cam Lancaster just leaned right into that to beat Carlos Aviles for the first shot of the match. That was well outside of the box. We saw him score a couple of games ago versus Charlotte. A beauty of a volley, also from well outside the box. It's almost like with Cam Lancaster, if you give him the ball outside of the penalty area, he's gonna take that swing, and taking those opportunities is one of the many reasons why he's been so successful in his career at 31 years old, why he was a Golden Boot in 2018, scoring a whopping 25 goals with Louisville City in the USL Championship. That could be a budding rivalry with Lancaster's current club and previous club. However, a scramble into the area has to be swung at by Yannick Yankum in order to get it out of the penalty area, as Lexington tries to snuff out some of the spark that Central Valley was trying to create. First quick touch there for Sean Vinberg, who plays it back for Aviles. Kalen Fox, he just lets that one trickle out of play. And he's not very satisfied because that one ended up being a Central Valley throw. Lexington, as of late, they've been able to not only string along results, they've also been able to strike first in many of those occasions. Just didn't necessarily happen versus Knoxville. However, that was the case in Charlotte, where they started off that game guns a-blazing, started off with another Cam Lancaster strike well outside of the area. But Nico Brown is calling for some assistance near that corner flag, as Brown slowly makes his way up, but he seems to be running okay, as we already have the first corner of the match in favor of Fuego. Alfredo Medense to step up. Awaiting for Medense. In-swinging ball, headed on, up and over. The deflection was made there by Dembor Benson, who was streaking into the penalty box. All night will have the opportunity to send this one out. As we mentioned in the open, Amal Knight making his 50th start in USL League One, where he has been so good, not just this season, but as of late. He has the 5th most saves in regular season action, tied with Tormenta's Ford Parker. And when you have a team who has had a lot of shots against them, like Lex Sporting, you want to have a guy back there who has the experience, who can get those opportunities, not only read the play, but sniff them out before they can happen. And when you have a guy with that much experience at 30 years old with Amal Knight, Lex Sporting is in a very good place. And if there was anything that you could take away from their season, is that many of their issues do not come in net. As it's Jorge Corrales just outside of the center circle. Served in, and that one gets swatted down as the Caputo service was unable to hit anyone. So it's John Brown along that far sideline, and he tries to make something go for a foot race, and unable to get that one to go anywhere. Was the attempt from Kevin Garcia. Drop down, popped up in the air. Garcia tries to get a touch on it. Heckenberg leaves it behind. But it's taken away by the lone goal scorer thus far, Cam Lancaster. As it makes its way all the way back for Sean Vinberg. Central Valley want to continue with this hot hand that they've been able to ride, considering how they haven't really been able to string together results at all throughout the first portion of the season. It took until late July / early August to get their first string of 2 consecutive wins for Central Valley Fuego, but a quick turnover comes and now provides an opportunity as it slid outside for Dembor Benson. Slide tackle outside from Corrales to disrupt Benson, but it's still in favor of Central Valley as John Brown goes quick. Return, Siobhan John Brown. Taken away by Lexington, but then got served into no man's land, and the pass intended for Alexis Cerritos just goes way off target, so it becomes a Central Valley throw. First 10 minutes in, a Cam Lancaster goal, and the 4th minute is the opening goal in this game. Lancaster's 5th of the season in his first year of USL League One, after basically having his way with the USL Championship for about a half a dozen seasons with Louisville City. And that might be something he might be seeing more of with the big news coming out of Lexington over on Tuesday, how they're going to move up into the USL Championship. Not only are Lexington going to be provided the opportunity to go up into that second tier of the USL soccer pyramid, but they'll also have a new 7,500 seat soccer stadium in Lexington set to debut with their USL Super League side early into September. And then Lex Sporting will have their opportunity to host their first game at their new soccer stadium midway through September in a match versus Knoxville. There's an opportunity that Lexington owner Bill Shively said is elevating the accumulation of efforts and the next step in the journey of the commitment to developing talent and growing the sport at the highest level. And USL Championship President Jim Olumberg had some words to say as well, but Medense wanted to try to make something go, and a quick tackle comes, still loose. Medense stops it. Medense shoots, and that one gets held off by Amal Knight. Benson attempted to keep it in play, but last off of Lexington. Corner number 2 for Central Valley.
That's a corner kick for the Fuego.
That's just a nice little turnover there from Central Valley deep in the Lexington end as Benson tried to chase after that. It just took a slight deflection off of Nico Brown and goes out for the second corner for Central Valley. As it's Medense again. In swinger, touched on and just outside of the post. Knight has to stop and hold on as there was a man on that front post. Couple of nice corners here from Central Valley. Quick swing on by John Brown. Vinberg couldn't quite get the touch on that as Knight was able to hang on. Couple opportunities from both ends as Lexington only had the one attempt, and Central Valley, they had a couple off of those first 2 corners. That's something that we might be able to expect from these 2 sides, is that whenever you have 2 sides who are very tightly contested, you can argue that they're a little desperate for the results because of where they stand in the table. It kind of brings a new level, a new mentality out of them in terms of the elevation of play overall. And for Lexington, they're not just trying to prove it to themselves and in USL League One, they're trying to prove it to everyone out there in the USL Championship, considering their promotion in 2025. As USL Championship President Jim Olumbaugh said that this move for Lexington to go to the championship has all the building blocks in place to compete at the highest level. and they want to continue competing at the highest level as they have to block off Central Valley, and they do, but Central Valley still has a chance to continue this attack with a throw-in. First looks at Darren Powell in his first season with Lexington. Will continue leading this side in the USL Championship as Medense walks in, tries to go outside as Medense shoots for the far post, but couldn't quite get it through. Goes outside, goal kick from all night. Another look here as Medense really trying to make it work himself, and sometimes that's all it takes is those guys to really commit to those efforts, and that's part of what Central Valley has really lacked in some of their continuous string of losses. Is they've been getting the looks that they want, just the execution and the ability to finish. But that's what happens when you maybe bring in some reinforcements to try to change those fortunes, as that's the case as the turnover comes back Fuego's way. Brian Bustamante will hold near center. About a quarter hour in. Quick service. Just goes to no man's land, so it just easily gets held off by Knight. Knight to send this one towards center. It comes down. Cerritos is holding the side of his head as he might have taken some head-to-head contact off of that jump ball. As Cerritos is a little slow to get up. He did hold his head right after that little bump. So we take another look here. It was just Cerritos, Bustamante. You saw Vinberg in there as well. And it looks like Vinberg might have stuck an arm out just ever so slightly. As Lexington, they come off of a 0-0 draw versus Knoxville in the Jägermeister Cup. They got that win in penalties. And with that game in Knoxville, they understood that one Knox was not going to give them a lot, but being able to maximize their opportunities, especially in possession opportunities, creating chances, and not just creating them, but finishing them, were really some of the keys that Darren Powell noted in order to get that result versus one Knox, and it very much keeps them alive in terms of getting the lead in the Central group in the Jägermeister Cup. As Jermaine Jones in that 1-0 loss to Omaha, they just threw out pretty much an entirely new lineup, just trying to get some guys some minutes, give them some playing time as they were out of it in the top of the West. But now Ates Diouf looks to create, splits out wide, a hold, a serve, intended to go back to Lancaster, but Central Valley Fuego were up to the task, and now Siobhan John Brown goes for the long serve. Bouncer holds on for Alfredo Medense, but he looks like he is just a touch offside. That's the call as the flag went up. Alfredo Medense has really been trying to put his stamp on this game, as just ever so slightly Medense was a little bit too far ahead of Modesto Mendez. Almost every single time we get to see Central Valley, you can notice that they do get a lot of opportunities. They are a team that likes to create a lot of chances, create a lot of chaos in the box. They just sometimes can't bury, but now they have to defend their own boxes. Cam Lancaster feeds it off. Diouf, Yancon for Cerritos. Alexis Cerritos held off by Carlos Aviles. Nice little offensive play here as Yancom served it for Alexis Cerritos, the ex-Central Valley Fuego man, and Aviles was up to the task to hold things off in order to keep Central Valley's deficit at only 1, but now a counterattack could potentially provide something as a quick seam ball comes. One-on-one as that one gets saved by Amal Knight, but it doesn't matter anyways as Omar Limus was offside.
For the ball is moved on the net.
As you can see, just as soon as that pass went off, Limus was way offside. Good for Amal Knight to get the save off, but Limus a little bit over enthusiastic, probably a little bit excited, as in about 35 minutes from now on the East Coast, he will turn 26. Limus, we just saw him offside on that last play. He's in his 2nd season with Central Valley after spending 2022 with San Jose Earthquakes 2 and MLS Next Pro. Has really been a Northern Californian his entire career, as he also played his college ball over at San Jose State. As it's fed out for Bustamante. A chance for Garcia, but just out of his reach. As Kalen Fox in game number 100 in USL League One will send it away. Start number 90 for the 29-year-old Fox. First bits of possession about 20 minutes in, or 60% in favor of Central Valley. Also have the advantage on shot attempts as well, 5-2 for Fuego. But it's Christian Young to hold on. As Cerritos was getting held a little bit there by Carrera Garcia, but Lexington will just retreat and come back to it. And both of these two sides are really trying to be careful because they know that they have the individual talent good enough to beat anyone in a 1v1 situation, whether that be Central Valley's guys or Lexington's offensive players. They know that those 1v1 opportunities are going to be the way to kind of explode their offense respectively. We saw that in the Lancaster goal, how he just had one defender to beat, just let that one fly. And especially with Lexington and Central Valley, they know that the other has been on a bit of a heater. So because of the recent form, it's maybe not causing a bit of hesitation, but maybe a little bit of cautious optimism. As Jermaine Jones said, it's very dangerous if you don't be careful against a team like LSC. Lexington will take a throw towards the Central Valley end. Back for Cerritos, who will lay it back for Corrales. Cerritos fighting along. Back for Lexington. Comes near side for Christian Luyong. Mendez was getting eyed by Heckenberg. And unlike the last time these two played, Chris Heckenberg is not already on a red card, unlike the matchup that happened back in May, where the Heckenberg 8th minute goal started things off for a 10th minute Lancaster goal. Some things do change, but I guess in other cases, they very much stay the same. Quick tap along as Central Valley wants to advance upward. They're waiting for some reinforcements to come along, as the option is just end-to-end for 23-year-old defender Brian Bustamante. Carrera Garcia lays it back for Sean Vinberg, who was brought into this Central Valley side a week ago today after spending the last 60 years in Germany in the various levels of the Bundesliga. Youth has some space, but it's getting closed off as Bustamante's in pursuit. Quick strip by Heckenberg. And now he wants to start something for Central Valley. Takedown from behind, foul Lexington. Central Valley going back and forth as they're trying to pick their option as to how they want to attack this very tightly defended Lexington side. Garcia goes towards center for Medense. Heckenberg lays off for Carrera Garcia. Medense again. Just falls back for Bustamante. As that one comes long, Siobhan John Brown elects to let it fly behind him as he settles back for Medense up top, but couldn't control as it's a turnover. Yannick Yankum wants to gallop the other direction as he is in pursuit, and that ball only has one man in front of him. It's Yannick Yankum. He's got a 2-on-1. Yankum takes a shot and deflects off of the new signee, Sean Vinberg. Out of play, Lexington corner, their first.
Fans, be sure to check out Fuego Team Store located at 1433 West Sierra Madre Avenue in Fresno. Team Store is open from 9.
Yannick Yankum had the 2-on-1 after that ball. Only one near him was number 8 in black. However, Sean Vinberg, all that experience overseas, really made things a little bit easier for Carlos Aviles, but he's gonna have to handle a corner.
Let's see who Lexington
It's the first corner for Lexington. Yannick Yankum has been very strong for this Lexington side. And that's even with a couple of breaks on international duty with Malta. But the corner for Lexington goes short. Service into the penalty area, up high, laid down, and a foul offensively from Modesto Mendez. A USL League One matchup kicks off September coverage on the CBS Sports Network. Player Shield holder Union Omaha visits newcomer Spokane Velocity FC in their first ever regular season clash. September 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS SN. So much has been happening around the USL, especially on those national networks, as we see Siobhan John Brown make his way through after taking some collision. We saw that thriller in the Henny Derby a couple of months ago with Madison and Richmond back at City Stadium, and the multitude of games in the USL Championship also getting their flowers from some of the national networks with ESPN, ESPN2, and CBS. Long ball goes, Denver Benson's one-on-one, but Amel Knight sticks the hands up and holds up before Benson can continue pursuit. Both of these teams have really struggled to come together at numerous points throughout the season, and not only come together, but really be cohesive as a group for an entire 90 minutes of play. It's something that both coaches acknowledged was kind of one of the shortcomings for their respective squads. And because they haven't really been able to put those full performances together, it has provided those lapses in play. And both Coach Powell and Coach Jones acknowledge that, hey, they played well for 85, 88 minutes, but that 1 minute of slip up turned everything around and allowed a result the opposite direction. As John Brown's attempt comes out of play and possession goes the other direction as it goes for Lexington. Jorge Corrales on the throw, but it was cut off. As another long ball attempted go, and Medense and Mendez both turning on the Jets. Mendez will win the race and just launch that one in the general direction of Young, who's right there. Young tries to do the same, but it might have just barely clipped. It did not clip Omar Lee Moose, actually. It just went straight out. Quick foul on the Barca Academy product, Kemet Garcia, making his League One debut, one of 2 League One debuts for Central Valley. Sean Vinberg, we've talked about him so many times. He just took the feet off as he's a Division III product of SUNY Oneonta up in New York State. It's one of those low-key beauties also of the USL that it continues to bring the talent from so many different levels and places. We mentioned Sean Vinberg, a Division III product, and numerous players across the USL, either NAIA or Division II players as well. But Medense want to feed that one inside as he basically got signed off of the right off of the tryouts before coming onto the Central Valley side, and has pretty much been the go-to guy for Jermaine Jones ever since he's come on. But a little bit of aggressive play from Central Valley will stop things and halt them as we approach a half an hour. The USL Super League kicks off its inaugural season of Division I professional women's soccer in August. 8 teams across the country begin play tomorrow, August 17th, airing exclusively on NBC's Peacock. USL Super League, that's going to be a very fun addition to the overall conglomerate that is USL, with the academy teams, the USLW League, that's another women's league, and then this introduction of the Super League with their women's side. And don't forget all the expansions coming to League One and USL Championship with Westchester and Texoma, Santa Barbara Sky, Maine. So just name a few of the many teams coming to League One. And then we also mentioned Lexington's upbringing into the USL Championship, as the championship side will also get so many franchises upcoming in expansion, whether it be Brooklyn or Jacksonville. As well as the City of Good Neighbors, Buffalo, New York. Medense centers. Got cut off by Lexington as Cam Lancaster holds on and wants to make something work. Lancaster stutters as he just allows some of the space to open up. And that open space has really gone towards Lexington's favor so far in this first half an hour of play. Have the 1-goal advantage. It was Cam Lancaster getting his 5th goal in USL League One at the 4th minute off of a strike well outside of the box, just beating Carlos Aviles. Holding on is Jose Carrera Garcia, just tries to go out wide for Lee Moose, too far. Amel Knight will send this one away once more on a goal kick, and Knight, we haven't even mentioned some of the form that he's been as of late. He himself has been performing very well also, as he made a stop on all 3 of Knoxville's scoring opportunities last week in the Jägermeister Cup. He also held on strong in the PK shootout to earn himself a spot as a Team of the Week of Week 7 in the Jägermeister Cup. Continues to be the go-to guy for Darren Powell. As Vinberg plays it back for Aviles, we haven't talked about him very much because he has not had to face as many obstacles along the way. As Aviles, when he's been starting in net, he's been on a little bit of a streak himself. Back-to-back wins as Knight has to come out and trip up John Brown in order to prevent that ball from going any further. Nice little bit of sportsmanship there from Knight and John Brown. Just a quick little tap on the shoulder after Knight threw his whole body out on John Brown's feet. We talked about the last time these two played back on May 11th, and it was a very similar yet almost different story between these two. Yes, Cam Lancaster scored early in both matches. However, it's very much a different roster than what Central Valley put up about 3 months ago because of how many players they've swapped around, whether that be the sending of Robert Coronado to the USL Championship or the additions to Fuego, including the likes of Kevin Garcia and Sean Vinberg, both making League One debuts today. And the Academy defensive midfielder and the newly signed center back will have to hold on as Christian Lu Young is ready to take this throw for Lexington with about 10 minutes to go in the half. Yankum back for Young. Yankum to serve. John Brown back for Aviles, but the verdict was that it just barely crossed the end line. So Aviles will get a chance to send the goal kick out. You pretty much look at the early stats 10 minutes in, it's all black, but right now Cerritos, he tries to take a drive. That one got blocked in front. Another chance goes. Yankum back heel. Cerritos tries to come free. Cerritos has a body all over him. Just retreats back for Young. Young blocked by Lemus. As it's Kevin Garcia, he'll just dump that one away. The most interesting part of this Lexington come up to USL Championship that a lot of people just out there were really questioning was the short amount of time that it took for Lexington to become an expansion franchise in League One, to build themselves all the way to a team ready for the USL Championship, considering some of the other squads who have made their ups and downs between League One and Championship, whether that be North Carolina last year, win the League One title, then go to the Championship, or a team like Charlotte Independence. They've gone from multiple swings up and down between the two various tiers. And the thing that Coach Powell really emphasized in terms of why Lexington really deserves this opportunity is because they've been spending the last 2 years building those fundamental pillars to really be one of the more competitive teams across USL at any level, developing their academy, developing that Super League team who we're going to have an opportunity to see in their kickoff tomorrow. And it's really a year 3 of the build, and that's the thing that really makes this opportunity very unique compared to some of the expansion franchises that we've seen recently in USL Championship, like a Rhode Island, where it's not necessarily a first year build, but rather it's the 3rd year of a continuous upscale with Lex Sporting. And they've continued to reap some of the benefits of their efforts with this opportunity. Now Medense trying to create an opportunity. He gets the long ball, passed by Mendez, but Medense keeps it in play. A nice move there by Medense as he opens up space, chips it up, and just hits the top of the crossbar and out of play. A nice opportunity there for Medense, as we've called his name continuously tonight. And look at Medense put on the moves on Mendez as he tried to chip it over the head of Amal Knight. And you saw some of that fancy footwork for Medense. He came on in the preseason for tryouts where he made the squad, got injured in the preseason with an ankle injury, and didn't get a chance to make his debut until about partway through May against Lexington. But now Benson has an opportunity to cross for Medense. Overshot Medense just a touch, but he's able to keep it in play. Medense using that street ball fancy footwork to wiggle past one, tries to get past another, but Caputo using a good job to get the body on without making contact with the ball, so Amal Knight can get the goal kick off. Very street ball was how Jermaine Jones described Alfredo Medense. Very good with one-on-one, using his speed, being able to defend, using some of the fancy footwork, and utilizing his frame like we saw in those last couple opportunities. The real development for him is learning the tactics, understanding the pro game and situational football, which is all stuff that they're going to learn over time, as in the back end, Amal Knight took a booking after some of the confusion in that last little stoppage and play, but Cerritos to take it off. Attempted there by Lancaster, comes out of play as we have another 5 minutes to go in the opening half. 1-0 for Lexington in Fresno. Cerritos plays it back for Youngcom. Corrales trying to just body off Garcia, who is pestering him so much. Gracious bounce finds Jose Carrera Garcia. Alfredo Medense works on Mendez again, tries to go for the cross. Unable to hit either of his two targets in the area, but flies right for Brian Bustamante as it swung out for Omar Limus. Central Valley has very much struggled to get results, especially when they concede the first goal. 1-11-2 are Central Valley when allowing the first goal, and it's part of the multitude of things that have not necessarily gone Central Valley's way, as they're tied for the fewest total League One wins with only 5. They need one more win this season to pass their mark from 2023, where they were last on the table. Medense for Limus, tries to cut it back across, takes a shot, and that one gets headed off. Central Valley want to keep this one in, but Youngcom with the overhead kick, as it's Atez Diouf with a full head of steam. Quick jersey tug will be a booking for Central Valley. That was Heckenberg, but then it was that last chance for Limus, tried to send that one in. That appears to be Garcia who took that swing. Youngcom was able to clear. So Heckenberg gets a yellow. And as we mentioned earlier, Amal Knight also got a yellow early on as well. Long range try, finds its way through again! 2 long balls for Lexington beat Aviles. And Lexington's up 2-0 before the half.
That's at the 43-minute mark.
Who else? Atez Diouf. 2-0 Lexington.
Goal scored by number 32, Atez Diouf.
They say to just put the ball in the frame of the net and good things happen. First it's Lancaster, then it's Diouf. The two guys on this Lexington team with the most goals continue to get it done. And Ates Diouf continues to climb up the Lexington record boards as he has his 7th goal of the season, number 22 with Lexington. Central Valley wants to make something go. Carrera Garcia wants to go back, but that one was blocked in front. Still alive for Central Valley. For Ates Diouf, that's his 4th goal in his last 4 games in the regular season, and continues to climb upwards as he has his team lead 7th goal of the 2024 season. Drop back down for Garcia. Lemus wanted to cross, cut off by Lexington, out of play, throw in. Carrera Garcia, seam for Garcia, too far. Garcia to Garcia, cannot hit. Amal Knight to send off the goal kick.
2 minutes.
Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. A lot of action just in the last 5 minutes, and we'll have 2 more to add to it. 2 yellows just beyond the 40-minute mark. One to the Lexington goalkeeper, Amal Knight. The other one going to Heckenberg of Central Valley, and then Diouf to give the 2-0 lead to Lexington as they give up a whistle, and Central Valley will have a chance to serve a set piece. Possession is still 60% in favor of Central Valley, but they have to climb out of a 2-goal hole. Could the service from Alfredo Medense potentially provide the slightest of relief for Fuego? Medense held on by Knight. Easy snag. We are in the 2nd minute of 2 in stoppage. It's only a matter of time before head official Chris Calderon will stop the first half of play. But a turnover from Medense tries to work on Yankum. Yankum with the poke. And now a chance to turn around. It's Lexington charging up ahead. Alexis Cerritos to serve out wide. Cerritos for Brown. Brown, wide angle. The service was intended for Lancaster, but goes over his head. And that will end the first half of play here in Fresno. 2 goals from distance for Lexington. One of them from that man right there, Ates Diouf. It's 2-0 after 45 here at Fresno State Soccer Stadium. A very eventful day here in Fresno as USL League One After Dark comes up with 2 goals from distance. Cam Lancaster and Ates Diouf give Lexington the 2-0 advantage. We'll be back for more on the USL when we come back.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
A 2-0 game, action-packed here, as currently Central Valley mascot Fuego Fox showing off the moves in a 2-0 deficit for Central Valley. It's been a very eventful game here in Fresno. Not as eventful as last week in USL League One as we take a look from around the league.
Along to Lancaster. Oh, that's a stunner! Brilliant ball through. Youth doubles the lead. Lexington's caught fire on the break. And a 2-0 advantage before intermission. Progressive ball, driving effort, and a third for Lexington. Christian Liu Young on the score sheet. Charging through, he lays it off. It's an empty net, and Overton pulls one back. Much needed for the Jacks before the break. Sorensen. First time cross, it's into the danger area, and Charlotte has life. The Jacks have snatched one back. And Bouillou. Weaving inside, it's loose, Obregon, it's over the line. Charlotte's level. And it's that man who leads the league in scoring with the stunner.
Lineup. Water steps back, cross into the 6-yard box, a header! And that one's in for Fuego! It's Denbor Benson with the header. 14 World Cup, Pedro Hernandez running, shot deflected, into the back of the net! Well, that's one way to do it if you're Pedro Hernandez. Entered on the ground, in, and Central Valley takes the lead! What a huge goal by Jose Guerrera Garcia!
Looping ball in, headed back by Norte. Off the bicycle, what an effort, what a goal! How about the opening goal right there from Juan Galindres? Oh, Don, Learno. Dos Santos diving, and what a goal! Steven Dos Santos goes Superman and gets an equalizer in the 63rd minute. Schneider, ball in, beautiful ball, Dolabella adds another one to the scoreboard. Pedro Dolabella. Prentice chips it on, a chance here, and roofed in. An equalizer in stoppage time for Fort Madison. It's the former Owl, Jake Cole.
Real Gill centers for Rendon. Rendon tries to center up and scores! Vignoles. Neil Vignoles steps up, tries to take a shot and a goal! We're level at 1! Neil Vignoles steps up to the plate and slots that one in. Big deflect off of Ani, but it's up for grabs now as Northern Colorado into the center area scores! 2 goals for Noco, and Ethan Horde gets his 7th of the year. Courtney Hernandez comes across. Jara steps up, and that's the finishing nail for Northern Colorado. Noah Powder gets the 3rd.
Out by Lodge. Shot from range, and it finds Peters. What a hit! The hometown hero hammers through and delivers the lead for Tormenta. All the way wide. Back into the box, Fonseca! Here's a shot, rebound to Miller, Andre Miller squaring, and that's a goal back. Louis Heel. That's a good ball, well weighted. Josh Doling has a go and guides his side back to level ground. Box from Daniel Steedman. It's a great ball, and it's an even better hit. Jake Dangler arrows it in. What a cut back from him. Josh Doling into the box and bouncing in.
Is it somebody's birthday?
Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes, only want the best. Running every night, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Deciding to go right up through the middle. A shot. Wow! Masango Akali.
Long range shot from Nordy, stopped, and that one trickles in.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
We just saw an action-packed week in USL League One, another action-packed game here at Fresno, California, as we not only go through what's been happening throughout USL League One, but the rest of the USL as we come across our news and notes across the USL. There's been plenty of talk going on with women's soccer just right around the corner. The USL Super League kicks off tomorrow with Carolina, Lexington, and Spokane, those more or less sister teams of the USL League One sides, with with Charlotte, Lexington, and Spokane. There's also been a lot of new things happening across the USL and USL League One, with Lexington nearing the finish of their new stadium, AV Alta FC also getting a groundbreaking tomorrow, and as we've mentioned throughout the Open and pretty much throughout the entire game so far, Lexington SC, they're going to be in an entirely new era coming up in 2025 in the USL Championship, as we continuously come along not only through what's happening in USL but in League One. We saw that 0-0 draw between Ford, Madison, and Charlotte. We also saw a 1-1 rainy game versus Greenville and Richmond. However, the Ilya Illich era starting off strong with one Knoxville getting that 4-1 win versus Chattanooga. The Red Wolves getting 2 red cards doesn't hurt either, but that makes things a lot easier for One Knox going forward. Tormenta and Northern Colorado will be an interesting one tomorrow, as that one has plenty of playoff implications coming up tomorrow. Team of the week for week 16, a lot of mentions for both Central Valley and a couple on Lexington on the bench for the team of the week. Jermaine Jones, he gets his first nomination for coach of the week as a part of the week 16 team of the week. You also see Alfredo Medense a part of that team as well, as has Carlos Avalez, both of them making key contributions not only in week 16 of the regular season but for Central Valley continuously going forward, including in tonight's match, as we have some more highlights from the first half of this match and the stats, and the second half kick when we return.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
USL League One After Dark continues here at Fresno State Soccer Stadium, where Central Valley Fuego have a 2-0 hole on Lexington SC as the fans continue to wait for the start of the second half. Let's go over what has happened in the first 45 minutes of action as things got started off early. A couple of back and forths to start things off, and just a pass to no man's land allowed Diouf just lay that one off for Lancaster, and for Cam Lancaster, that's back-to-back goals from deep. That puts Lancaster at 2 goals in the last 3 matches for Lexington. Both of them well outside of the box, and both goalkeepers in Charlotte and here in Central Valley had no response. But in the 11th minute, things would take their first opportunities as Alfredo Medense would try to go, but that one was held off by Amal Knight. And just before the end of the half. We saw some fancy passing back and forth. It fell right for Artez Diouf, who goes for range himself. Just beats Aviles, who was off of his line, snuck that one underneath the post. That provides Diouf with his 4th goal in 6 matches. And the assist for that Diouf goal was credited for Yannick Yankum, who's been on a bit of a assist streak as well. He's got 3 assists on the season as Cam Lancaster starts off the second half of play between Lexington and Central Valley. Ryan Lee and our entire ESPN Plus broadcast crew, we thank you very much for joining us here at USL League One After Dark, where it is about 10 minutes after midnight on the East Coast, but if you are on the West Coast, like this game being played, it is just a little past 9 p.m. We saw in those halftime highlights, it was Lancaster and Diouf, both from range. As Yannick Yankum, he assisted on that Diouf goal to put it at 2-0. He took some heavy contact against that looks like Jose Carrera. Yes, it is Jose Carrera Garcia, who was hopping on one leg. That's not a good sight to see. But he continues to just jog his way gingerly. Caputo centers for Cerritos, who returns for Caputo, who has that far sideline all to himself. Caputo towards center, couldn't get the deflection on for Lancaster, but the touch outside for Vinberg is going to be a corner for Lexington. Lexington's only got 2 corners in this game.
Number 12, Jorge Corrales, taking the corner.
Jorge Corrales on the first corner of the second half, second of the evening. In swinging ball, low, away, but kept in by Young. As we'll just play it all the way back from All Night, who is sitting on a yellow card. But we'll send that one off. Goalie to goalie, Carlos Aviles to hold on. Aviles didn't play versus Omaha, but he did play about 2 weeks ago in Chattanooga, where he stopped 5 of 6 in that 2-1 win in Chattanooga, where Aviles was a part of the team of the week of regular season week 16, but a bit of aggressive contact will be a booking out of the officials' pockets. We're only about 3 minutes into the second half. The League One debut for Kevin Garcia is cut short as Ashkanov Apolin comes in his place.
Yellow card was issued to number 20, Alfredo Mittens.
So Fredo Medense gets the yellow card as the service awaits into the area. It has to be punched out by Aviles. Still alive, Lee Moose just to chuck it into the crowd for a Lexington throw. As that struck was taken by Artez Diouf. He was looking for 2 as that shot had eyes. But a nice reflex there from Aviles to keep it out of the nets, but Lexington's right back on it again. Wanted to serve for Cerritos was Yankum. Falls back. Diouf for Yankum. Returns for Diouf. Nico Brown Works on Lee Moose. Brown with the chip shot, up and out. Nico Brown in the last opportunity tried to take that opportunity on the 1v1 wide. Couldn't quite get it to go. As Aviles will take this goal kick out. We started off 2024 not necessarily on the best of, at least in terms of goaltending win-loss record, as Aviles started off 2024 with only 1 win in 5 games, the other 4 being losses. But since then, he's strung on some very consistent results. 3-1-5 since, including wins in his last 2 starts. He looks to make it 3, but Central Valley are in a 2-0 hole against Lexington. These two will play one more time in September. That's a regular season matchup, as they're both in game number 13 of the 22-game regular season. Cross attempted for Appelin. Has to be held off by Christian Young, who just sends it out of play, so Central Valley can take a throw. So about a dozen minutes into the second half. Ashkanov Appelin, second half substitution to serve it in. Blocked off Mendez. Corner for Central Valley. Their first of the half. Alfredo Medense, he was so good in July. 4 assists on 3 matches. Second youngest player to earn League One Player of the Month. Tries to go for the outswinger. Clipped by Fox. And it's a foot race that will be kept in play by Chris Heckenberg. As Omar Lee Moose has John Brown. Returns for Lee Moose. He has a lane. Lee Moose gets cut off by Caputo. And Caputo gets the capture and the throw for Lexington off of the deflection from Omar Lee Moose. Jorge Corrales, he wears the captain's armband today, the 33-year-old from Cuba. He was a Team of the Week candidate of Jägermeister Cup Round 7 because of his numerous plays defensively, and for Corrales, he has to continue that form for Lexington, considering how he leads the league in tackles made. But he's set to take this service off of a whistle. Nico Brown comes in, draws a foul. Just a quick warning as the ball was poked down the pitch from Sean Vinberg. As Lancaster and Corrales, they're both beside the ball. We saw Lancaster send one into the back of the net from deep about 3.5 minutes into this match. Jorge Corrales, he's made his fair share of services on set pieces as well. Lancaster goes for net, and that was stopped by Aviles. Rebound, scores! Alexis Cerritos, he comes back to Central Valley, scores on his former team, and the all-time leader in goals for Fuego scores against them in favor of Lexington. It's 3-0. A nice service here from Cam Lancaster. I said it right before that service went off. He might go for goal. He did. Aviles with a stop, and Cerritos on cleanup duty as he just poked that one in. He gets his second goal of the season, and he was the all-time leader in goals and assists for Central Valley. Comes back to Fresno in his first game against Central Valley. Scores against them in the 54th minute. All Knight will hold on as a quick shot from Mendez comes up play, but it's stopped right there by Bustamante, who just sends it out for a Lexington throw. Comes off of Bustamante again. If you take a look at Alexis Cerritos, didn't just score that last goal. He had 50 matches played across 2 seasons with Central Valley in 2022 and 2023. He has the record of most goals and assists amongst Central Valley Fuego history. And he comes back home to Fresno, scores against his former team to triple the lead for Lexington. But it's Nico Brown, who is just about a week after his 26th birthday, comes all the way around as Cerritos, the goal scorer, is calling for it at center. Chip into the area. Youth elevates but couldn't get the touch on. May have last gone off of a player in red. That's the verdict as we look at Cerritos once more. His dad, Ronald, spent 15 years with the El Salvador international team. Cerritos has spent some time with El Salvador's national team as well. He was part of that Team of the Week 16 with an assist in Charlotte and has continued to make his impact felt despite being in black and green instead of in the red and black. In swinging ball for Lexington, aims for the back post, too high for Mendez, goal kick for Central Valley and Carlos Aviles. Diouf attempted to tightrope that near sideline as he was getting jostled at between Clayton Torr and Omar Lemus. As we have a substitution here for Lexington, Ates Diouf, he scored the second goal and comes off the pitch for the rest of the night, where Isaac Cano will fill in. Cano playing in his 17th match of the season. He's come off of the bench numerous times, including each last 5. He's on loan from Louisville City, the USL Championship, and as we've mentioned, the upcoming new league for Lexington, that could be a very funky situation next year should Isaac Cano go back to Louisville. The little geographical potential for rivalry there between Louisville and Lexington, 2 teams in Kentucky, as it's served in through. Cam Lancaster has a hesitate, comes around, is that one saved by Aviles? A nice little spinorama chance from Lancaster as he was just looking for space, found a lane between the legs of Torr, but Aviles was quick to keep that one out and potentially hold on to the bleeding to only 3 as of now. Served in, and that one is grabbed by the 25-year-old netminder from Dallas, Carlos Aviles. 15 starts this season for Carlos Aviles. Continues to be the #1 guy for Jermaine Jones. As it comes to the near side for Alfredo Medense. Medense was working on that near side as well last half. It's kind of a little interesting how he was on that near sideline in the first half and in the second half, kind of going from the left in the first half, but in this half it goes to the right. But it's Apelin Back for Carrera Garcia. Feeds it for Medense. Looks for space. Retreats it. Receives it. Medense. John Brown for Opelin. Opelin tries the back heel, but the only one there was not somebody currently in Central Valley, however, the man who was there prior in Cerritos. Turnover. Isaac Cano captures for Lancaster. As Nico Brown will just hold off and slow things down. Receives the pass back from Caputo. As we are at the hour mark. Cam Lancaster in the 4th. Atez Diouf in the 43rd. And Alexis Cerritos in the 54th. The first half statistics pretty much down the line. It all shifts in red. But once you turn things on to the second half, it's been all black and green. Central Valley had 60% of the possession in the first half, out shooting Lexington 6-5. But in the second half, it's been 4 shots, all on target for Lexington. Nothing to speak of in terms of shot attempts for Fuego FC. Lexington trying to hold on to a 3-0 lead as they sit at the bottom of the USL League One table. But Central Valley are just above them. Only 1 point separated them before today. And both of them were very much kind of a big question mark if they could make it back into the playoff race. But with a full 3 points, either team could have reclaimed even a shot. As it comes for Siobhan John Brown, twirls around, looks for space as he goes crashing into the end boards. Once again, John Brown throwing the body out. We saw him take a tumble on Knight in the first half, and he does it again, crashes into the end walls. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app. Mense couldn't quite get it all the way back from Yankum as it falls all the way through. Nico Brown has it. Part of the Jamaican U17 squad, was second on the team in goals last year, was Brown, as Cerritos tries to wiggle free. He comes down on a tackle, draws a foul, and Corrales is also trying to make some adjustments as we have a couple of substitutions being made for Central Valley, with Vasquez and Nemhard coming into the match.
Also coming on, number 31. Deshaun Nemhard. Coming off, number 17, Omar Legus.
As we continue to take a look at Zaire Vasquez.
Wait a minute, where is Fuego El Fox? I know Fuego El Fox is walking around here.
Vasquez will take the spot of John Brown, while
Who wants a mini soccer ball? Let's hear you make some noise.
Lemus will be replaced by Deshaun Nemhard.
We said who wants some mini soccer balls? Make some noise over there.
Zaire Vasquez continues to be a staple for Central Valley, as it's a little bit of a stoppage in play. It's a scalding day here in Fresno. We're looking at 91 degrees Fahrenheit as of now. As we take a look on how we got to this 3-0 lead on a bit of a break. Couple of passes here from Central Valley, just not enough juice on that one. Intended for Bustamante, but Lancaster just sends that one in from deep to beat Aviles 3.5 minutes in. And then another turnover here off another bad pass from Central Valley. USL Youth just turns around and fires, and then on a set piece, Lancaster stopped by Aviles, and it was just a yawning cage there for Alexis Cerritos to score against his former team on his first trip back to Fresno since his 2023 campaign with Central Valley, where he scored a whopping 9 goals with the squad last year. Cerritos is back on it once more. Scott Putos to center for Youngcom. Young around. Cano. Cano get past 2, has some space. Cano to center as that one gets blocked, but out of play. Corner for Lexington. Carrera Garcia on the block. As you saw, Isaac Cano just wiggle past the 2 defenders, attempted to center, but Carrera Garcia was fast on that. The 20-year-old midfielder from Lexington tried to get that one to go through. As it will be another corner for Corrales. Third of the match, second of the half. Low ball, punched out by Benson. And once again, Lexington will just play it all the way back from all night. Three substitutions made already for Jermaine Jones, only one for Darren Powell. Could we potentially see more coming in a little bit as Denbor Benson tries to find some open space. He takes the pass back as it goes to Medente. Vinberg. Benson tries to drop it off for Tor. Gracious bounce for Benson. Has Vinberg on the corner. Wanted to serve. Block falls for Heckenberg. Quick center. Venberg. Medense. Tackled by Cerritos. Brown gets past one. Gets past another, but that second man, that was Sean Vinberg. He got a touch on, and that will be a stoppage in play. As Nico Brown was displaying some of the offensive creativity and some of the speed to get past some of those defenders. Just weaving on through. Central Valley Fuego, they've allowed the second most goals going into today. Only the Richmond Kickers had more, but Kalen Fox has to steer this one outside. Doesn't matter, Central Valley's offside anyways. And Amal Knight is holding on to what looked like his foot or his lower leg there, but he goes back down again.
Thank you for participating in the mini soccer ball throw-out giveaway. We do appreciate the energy that was given.
You saw him again. He grabbed that foot, that right heel, kind of trying to stomp it out, kind of walk it off before he sends it off on the whistle. That's not exactly what you want to see if you're Darren Powell. But with only one substitution in the books for Lexington, I don't necessarily know if putting in the backup, Nico Campazano, is exactly in Coach Powell's plans. And now Cam Lancaster is working on himself as well. Just the number of guys going down and grabbing at legs, stretching things out. It is, at the end of the day, a very hot day here in Fresno. It was 91 at kickoff, and by the time this match ends, it might even lower down as much as 85 Fahrenheit with a couple degrees worth of wind, but nothing too noticeable as we have 20 minutes to go in this match in regulation. 3-0 Lexington. Corrales, only 2 men in black in the box. Up top for Caputo. Cano. Attempt to return for Cano, but Young just has to twirl around in the corner. Cano wanted to get past Carrera Garcia, but Youngcom plays it back. Service into the area. Back post, Nico Brown, too strong on the touch. Goal kick, Aviles. These two sides do have one more game against each other that comes September 18th. That one will be back in Toyota Stadium in Georgetown. Actually, take that back. That one's not going to be in Georgetown. That's going to be in the new Lexington Stadium because it will be ready by the time that these two teams play round 3 in 2024. And most likely the last match between these two in USL League One at least. After that, who knows? Could get some Open Cup games in here and there. Could get a couple of potential moves up and down between these two squads in the future. You never know. But it's been a second half that's been all Lexington. Is that one is going to be stopped going Central Valley's way. Nemhard for Vasquez, and Vasquez gets absolutely bodied off of the ball. So it comes as a stoppage. Central Valley will take over. Fuego want to go up the middle. Nemhard for Carrera Garcia. Vinberg tried to escape Brown. Brown goes out of play, so it's a throw-in. As we take a look at Jermaine Jones and his side, having to recover from a 3-0 deficit. Currently trying to hold on to a streak of 2 wins in the last 3. Because I'm sure Jermaine Jones, last thing he wants is take another set of back-to-back losses. Heckenberg goes for goal, but is wide. Took a deflection off of a Lexington player, so it's a corner for Central Valley. Fuego. Second of the half for them.
Corner to be taken by number 8, Chris Heckenberg.
There's a whole crowd of players just around the penalty area as corner kicks are going to be sent in by Chris Heckenberg. Heckenberg waits as our head official has to have some discussions, and Heckenberg is ready to go. Heckenberg goes down for Benson, out of play. And back-to-back corners it will be for Fuego. Short this time, return from Medense. Medense to serve, back post down, still for grabs. Bustamante down, another ping around, but couldn't quite get it through to net. Still in Fuego possession as it comes across for Zaire Vasquez. Carrera Garcia for Bustamante. Hackenberg. Towards the area again. Too strong of a touch. As it's Yannick Yankum. Wanted to cut inside, but Carrera Garcia laying out the body once more. We've seen him do that a time or two in game number 99 for number 10 in red.
Here's a place facing booth this evening. Only a slight fee. We'll be happy to decorate you.
Jose Carrera Garcia, he also got a goal versus Chattanooga 2 weeks ago as part of regular season week 16's team of the week. Discussions back and forth. It goes in favor of the roadside Lexington. Morales for Lancaster, and Lancaster took some contact towards his face. And it took one match in a Central Valley Fuego kit for Sean Vinberg to get booked in USL League One. We have maybe a dozen or so minutes left to go. As it will be another substitution being made by Central Valley. Raul Mendiola will take the place of Alfredo Medense. So the top offensive producer for Central Valley will go onto the bench as Raul Mendiola will take over in the 77th. Served into the area, back post, kept in play, and that one gets cleared by Appelin. Kept alive by Christian Lu Young. Lexington hasn't even attempted a shot in about 48 or so minutes. They work their way around for Vinberg, who had himself a very good 23-24 campaign with VfR Neumünster in the German leagues, with 8 goals in 17 matches over across the pond. Tries to hold back as his team looks to recover, but it'll be a foul. Cerritos is down. Clayton Tor was amongst the many who were in the scrap. As we have about 11, just shy of 12 minutes to go of regulation time before we get to stoppage. Lexington with a 3-0 advantage, as they want to come home with the 3 points. They are going to have a very tall task ahead of them, with forward Madison coming to Toyota Stadium on their return. They split the 2 games. Pardon, they're 2-1 in the 3 games with Madison so far in 2024. But Nico Brown could potentially try to spark up a 4th. Served in, Lancaster comes loose. Comes back outside for Brown, as the play was offside on that near sideline in the corner. Said it was Lancaster who was offside, as Lancaster has been finding his form since missing some time in May into early July. He got a goal versus Charlotte, got a goal today. That's 2 goals in the last 3 for the 3rd leading goal scorer in USL Championship history, Cam Lancaster. including the opener today, 3.5 minutes in. Benson for Vasquez. Wanted to slip it through for Mendiola, but it was cut off by Lexington. Comes out of play. Throw in, but before that throw in will commence, Lexington will take a sub. Tate Robertson is into this match with Cam Lancaster coming out. We saw Lancaster stretching himself out a couple times, as it's a more defensive move here for Darren Powell, electing to go for a defensive wing back in favor of a pure striker. But with a 3-0 lead, about 10 minutes left to go, can't necessarily blame him for wanting to just park the bus a little bit, as Tate Robertson is in his 49th appearance with Lexington and in USL League One. Clayton Tor. Benson gets cut off, but comes back for Central Valley anyways for Heckenberg. Around for Deshaun Nemhard, who's had some issues staying healthy with his knee, but makes his way back after having himself about a month-and-a-half long hiatus for Nemhard. And Central Valley will earn themselves a whistle in the Lexington end. Jose Carrera Garcia to take. 8 minutes to go in regulation. Glanced off the wall, and that one finds its way through for Central Valley. They get their first off of the set piece. Jose Carrera Garcia off of the service. In League One match number 99, he gets his 9th goal in League One off of a gracious deflection off of the wall over Amal Knight. And that one is just a little bit beneficial for Garcia, as he gets that one through for Central Valley's first of the night. For the 5th lowing goal unit in terms of goals scored for Central Valley. They're bottom 5 in terms of goal scoring units. They get one back to reduce this deficit to 2. That was the 9th time in the regular season that Lexington has conceded in the final 15 minutes. No other team has done so more than Lex Sporting. They might have to tighten up, as maybe one more goal could get Central Valley back into this thing. Cross goes, blocked by Young, out of play, throw in for Opelin. Brian Bustamante wants to find a lane with 5 minutes to go in regulation time. Towards center, Mendez up, but not out, as it's a foot race. Bustamante will play back for Aviles. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live games and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Robertson getting his first couple of touches since getting subbed in at the 80th minute. As that one makes its way all the way towards Aviles once again. And for Central Valley, it's not very much going to be an easy task for them either, as they're also going to have an uphill battle if they want to even sniff contention of the playoffs, let alone getting above the line. As their next matchup, they have to go to American Legion Memorial Stadium to take on the #1 team in the current League One standings, the Charlotte Independents. As it served into the penalty box, comes out, Carrera Garcia couldn't corral. And then after that game in Charlotte, they come back here to Fresno State for the final Jägermeister Cup match against the team who has clinched the Western group. They did so on Tuesday, Northern Colorado Hailstorm. And if they want to even attempt making the playoffs, the 4-team semifinal for the Jägermeister Cup, they have to make up a 5-goal deficit on Union Omaha, who have the most goals of the wild card teams in the Jägermeister Cup. As these players for both sides continue to drop, this time it's Abel Caputo, 24 years old from Venezuela, making his 20th appearance in 2024, 19th as a starter. He's in his first season in Lexington, but not in USL League One, as he spent 2021 to 2023 with Inter Miami 2 and Fort Lauderdale FC when they were still called that, before that became Inter Miami's second team with MLS Next Pro.
Is your Central Valley Fuego FC hosts Northern Colorado Hailstorm FC in round 8 of the USL.
And then after that final Jägermeister Cup match for Central Valley, they have to go on the road 3 times, up north to Spokane, then across the country twice to Lexington and to Greenville. Imagine that stretch before coming home to Northern Colorado again before midway through October with Spokane once more.
Coming off is number 6.
So Abel Caputo was a little slow to get up on that last play. Darren Powell just says, let's just throw in Pierre Manet to just alleviate any potential risk due to injury. So Manet is coming back. He's in his second season with Lexington on his first professional contract.
Come on, 559. One last time. Get loud, get rowdy. Let's take it home.
That's the second time, pardon, that Darren Powell has made a sub beyond the 80th, third of the half. Central Valley want to potentially dig into this 2-goal deficit that they're facing. Zaire Vasquez just looking for an option. Vinberg. As that was Vasquez who slipped on his own 2 feet. Cerritos on the near side. Just continues to battle in there. Clayton Torre retrieves it for Carrera Garcia. The block by Yankum falls right for Vasquez. Vasquez cuts inside as that shot is up and out of play. A nice attempt there by Zaire Vasquez, who was a part of that inaugural season in 2022 with Central Valley. Just tried to go on the left footer, just kind of sailed on him a little bit as he didn't quite hit that ball the way he wanted to. And now it's a goal kick for Amal Knight. Mendiola charges up ahead, tries to slide it for Benson, but it was overshot, so Mendez will slip it out of play.
5 minutes.
An extra 5 for stoppage between Lexington and Central Valley. Quick go here for Cano, but he gets cut off. Nemhard centers. Mendiola returns for Nemhard. Lexington have the fewest regular season wins with 2. Can they come up with their third? That one was tried and driven at the top of the penalty area. And regardless of it was clipped by a Lexington player or not, the flag went up. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. A minute into this 5, now about a minute and a half, as the ability to grab 3 points is slowly slipping out of Central Valley's grasp, and their maintenance of avoidance of the bottom seed, Central Valley Fuego, a fate that they suffered last season with a league fewest 6 wins last year. They have 5 across all League One competitions so far between Jägermeister and regular season. Mendez is down, and he's going to get some attention as well. Mendez, 26-year-old defender from Cuba. He has been spending the last 3 years as part of the Cuban international squad, and he's been around numerous times, including in the USL Championship for the last couple of years, whether that be with Charleston Battery or Hartford Athletic, even some time in MLS Next Pro, and even the MLS squad for Inter Miami. Could we potentially see a situation for Mendez similar to what we saw with Caputo, where Darren Powell might just throw in a substitution just to reduce injury? And it also never hurts to get some of those bench guys some minutes. Drop ball, Yankum across, Robertson wanted Cerritos. Had Cerritos gotten possession of that, he would have been on brace watch. Lexington have been unbeaten in their last 3. That comes with 1 win and 2 draws. One of those 2 draws was in the Jägermeister Cup, where they took that win in penalties the last match out versus Knoxville. They have had a streak of 4 unbeaten earlier in the season that came back from mid-April to late May, where they had 2 wins and 2 draws, with one of those draws being a Jägermeister Cup PK win centered into the area, caught by Amal Knight, and those fortunes might very well be repeated here in Fresno with 2 regulation wins, 2 draws. One of those draws was actually a Jägermeister Cup penalty kick win. It's essentially a rinse and repeat of what happened back in April for Lexington. And ever since they got announced they were going to be a part of the USL Championship, the big question was going to be, and really the general consensus question was, did they, aside from the USL situations happening, the performance maybe did not necessarily warrant it. but they definitely showed today they have the potential to be that team. It's just been a couple of inconsistencies here and there that have really hampered their season. And despite struggling in the regular season, they are very much in play for the lead in the Central Group in the Jägermeister Cup, where they will play Chattanooga at the end of the month. And the Red Wolves had a crushing loss to Knoxville earlier today, so that could look well for Lexington's future in that final game of the Jägermeister Cup match, where they could potentially strip Madison of that final seed in the Central. And that will do it here in Fresno. Lexington take the 3-1 lead to go unbeaten in 4 straight with wins in back-to-back. Alexis Cerritos deliver the third and final blow for Central Valley as he comes back to Fresno and not only scores the 3rd goal, does so against his former team where he set the all-time goal record. It's 3-1 for Lexington here at Fresno State Soccer Stadium. We'll conclude this match when we return from the break.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
It's been an eventful match here in Fresno between Central Valley and Lexington as things got started off pretty much right out of the gate. This was only about 3.5 minutes into the match where a quick turnover by Artes Diouf gets dropped off by Cam Lancaster, just launches that run from deep to beat Carlos Aviles for the first goal of the game. You could see there it was the pass, it was way too short, intended for Bustamante, so Diouf was able to bust that play open for Lancaster, who breaks the door open to start things off in only 4 minutes. And just before the end of the half, another turnover pass. Yankum leaves it for Diouf, and Diouf just tries to go for goal for Artes Diouf. That puts him at 4 goals in his last 6 and continues to lead Lexington all-time in scoring. Yannick Yankum has 3 assists in his last 4. And then off of the set piece, Cam Lancaster comes off of Aviles, and then Cerritos with the tap-in. The all-time leader in goals for Central Valley, Fuego, gets one against his former team in his first try back in Fresno. And then the 83rd minute, Jose Carrera Garcia gets the gracious deflection off of the wall on the set piece to get one back. But that's all it'll be. And that'll do it for us here in Fresno, California at Fresno State Soccer Stadium. It's a 3-1 win for Lexington over Central Valley. It's been a pleasure being with you here for USL League One After Dark. For our entire USL League One broadcast crew on ESPN+. My name is Ryan Lee. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.